Hi, everyone. Welcome to Everything and Nothing. Another episode. Okay, so this one, it's like a reflection, a moment of reflection, and reflecting on a lot of things, reflecting on life, reflecting on the little voice that we hear, the little inner voice, the little higher self voice, whatever you want to call it, intuition. So today it's really about feelings, like all the feels that move through this body, all the feels that move through this experience, and what do we do with all those feelings? And it's all related because it's like all connected to whether it's at work or in relationships, whether it's linked to the purpose, linked to a vision, linked to even our, how we see ourselves. So the reason why this one is about that is, I don't know how it feels for you guys, but the last months have felt extremely intense for me. And extremely intense in the sense of, for a while, people have been saying or telling me, or we've been talking about how it feels like time is moving really fast, which in my world, what is time? Like, how do we measure time really? I don't know. Like as a day, as a moment, as a breath, as a feeling. But for whatever reason, people have been mentioning and saying, it just feels like, it's already May 15th. It feels like just yesterday it was New Year's. It feels like just yesterday it was snowing and it was winter and I was here at home writing my first book, finding the time to feel that message, to write it down. And then here I am now, and it's like spring and the month is almost over and there's things that I want to do. And the days just keep getting, I wouldn't say shorter. They're just like flowing. They're just flowing. And a lot is happening. A lot is happening. My doggies got sick for a while. One got sick, then he got better, then the other one got sick last week, which is why I didn't get a chance to do my episode last week. I was prioritizing, watching her, keeping an eye on her, making sure that she was healthy and that she was fine. And at the same time, doing my work, working with clients, showing up to my online programs that I'm facilitating, that I'm running, finishing the book, launching the book. So it just feels, and that's the key word, it feels like there's so much, and it feels like everything is just moving. I wouldn't say it's going faster. I would say I feel like I'm catching up with the flow of life. Because even though I'm catching up with the flow of life and things are moving, I still find time to rest. I still found time to spend time with my little ones. I still find time to, hang out with friends. I still find time to journal, so it's not like the days are getting shorter. It's not like I'm running out of time. It's more like there's just a lot moving, and I'm feeling it, and I'm feeling that. And what I'm recognizing, or what I'm realizing, is all of the feels. Like once I got to a point where I was comfortable with feeling different things at different times, it became easier to move through my day, not getting stuck on, today I feel sad and I'm just going to be sad the whole day. It's like, okay, I feel sad right now, and I feel that sadness, like it's its own little thing. And so sadness just comes in, and through different ways, whether it's movement or breathing or dancing. Oh, I love dancing. Or singing. That feeling of sadness moves through, and it passes. And then I'm able to move on to, my next thing. And what I've noticed is at night when I go to bed, I'm so grateful that I was able to recognize and acknowledge those feelings. And then I'm able to rest. Although to be fair, I always slept really good. I'm a very, very deep sleeper, and I love my sleep. I dream I dream a lot. Every night I dream 2 to 3 dreams. And there are times, I don't know how it is for some of you, but there are times that my dreams take place in the same location with the same people. I dream a lot about water. And anyway, point of my story is I'm able to go to sleep and rest. And so I wake up feeling rested. Sometimes I wake up feeling a little like, oh, I could sleep more. But even then, I find the energy to get up and keep going. One of the things that I want to do more of this week or in the coming weeks is exercise. I miss that. Right now that the weather's better, I miss doing more exercise. But where is that coming from? And that's what I'm getting at. The feeling. Like I'm listening to my body, and my body's telling me it wants to move more. It wants to do a workout. It wants to be active, because I'm being active, creatively with the books I'm writing, with content that I'm putting together. I'm being creative with my clients and how I work with them. And then I am also taking the time to enjoy the outdoors with my dogs and the walks. I even started hiking again. Again, the weather's nice, so I can go out and really enjoy the trails and enjoy being out there. And so when I sit down and I listen to my body, and it's like, well, what else do you want? Right now, what it's wanting is activity outside, like whether it's a jog, or I'm not big on weights, but even that, it's like, just do something, just do an exercise, a workout, more than my 20-minute Zumba. Because I do Zumba sometimes. When I can't fit in like my full hour workouts, I'll put on a 20-minute Zumba video, and I just Zumba my way through the day. And that just helps. But what I'm recognizing more and more is the importance of listening and paying attention to those feelings, whatever they are, even frustration. Sometimes it's those feelings of frustration, and then I sit down and I do an assessment, like, what am I frustrated about? What is it that's annoying me right now? And sometimes it's simple as my brain is just tired of doing the work that it's doing. If I'm doing a really tedious task, okay, well, then now I understand I need to take a break, and I need to take a break, and I need to do something else to get my flow going again. And if I'm feeling restless, why am I feeling restless? And it can be sometimes, it's usually the same thing. I'm usually sitting down for too long, or I'm usually doing one task for too long, or I'm not drinking water. So all of these little things. So what I recognized this last week was the importance of listening to those feelings. And the reason I reflected on the importance of that was when my dog was sick. When she was sick, the doctors or the vets kept saying it was because of the sedation that they gave her to. So we went for a walk, and the 2 small dogs were sniffing something in a tree or in a bush. And my big dog decided she wanted to be part of it. So she went in and just stuck her whole head in it. And she came out with quills, porcupine quills on her nose and her mouth. So I had to take her to the vet, and because she's so big, they had to sedate her to pull them all out and make sure that all of them were taken out. So she started getting sick, and the vet said it's probably the sedation. But when I was waking up in the middle of the night to take her outside, I was wanting to feel what she was feeling. I wanted to understand what was wrong with her. So with all of my heart, I was paying attention to what I was feeling. And what I was feeling was like nausea, like I was feeling sick to my stomach. And that led me to tell the vet, I think she's got something wrong with her stomach. I can feel it. And long story short, they did a blood test and she had pancreatitis. So her stomach was hurting because her pancreas was inflamed, because she had some bacteria in her stomach. So I realized at that moment how we communicate as beings in this world. And when we have a strong connection, we can actually feel each other's feelings, whatever we're feeling, whether we're sick or we're just not feeling well or we're upset or we're sad. And that led me to want to pay more attention to my body. What is my body saying? Because I live in it. Like, this is it. And as a result of that, just in the last week and a half, paying attention to it, I was able to tune in and listen to it needs water, or it needs fruits, or it needs more rest, or it needs more activity. And as I continued to show up for that and listen to that, I started to notice also feelings even of things that I needed to do. Like, I had a feeling, like this very strong feeling to put out an event, And I had even the vision of what the event was about. And it was linked to one of the books that I published. And as I started writing, taking notes of how that event was going to look, everything just started falling into place. I found the lady that's going to come and do the creative part of it. I had to move the date to something else, but she was available that day just out of nowhere. Like, it was simple, it was easy. And it's exciting. I noticed within myself how exciting it is when I listen to myself, when I follow my, what people call intuition, or my inner voice, or when I tune in. And even though it may not make sense to other people, that's not the point. It doesn't have to make sense to other people. It has to make sense to you, because this is something that it's given specifically to you. Just like those things were given specifically to me, it's for me to move on, for me to put them into action, to bring them into life, And I feel more and more right now, more than ever, that's important and that's vital, because we get to step into our power of creativity, of creation, of creating things, and creating things with the knowing of what we're creating and why we're creating those things. And when we have that clarity, and when we have that motivation, everything just flows, everything just moves so easily. And of course, I'm reminded of one of the first books I ever read of Paulo Coelho, which is The Alchemist. It wasn't the first one. The first one I read was By the River Piedra. I sat down and wept. That was the first book I ever read of his, and I fell in love with it. I still have it. But the second one I read was The Alchemist. And some of you may have read it, and some of you may be nodding like, yep, that's it. It's about, when you have a dream and you follow it, and there's something in you that tells you this is what you're here to do. You have to do it. You keep going and you commit to it and you keep showing up for it. The whole universe will conspire to support you to make it happen. And it's something that I've always believed is why, even being here doing this, it's all part of it. I've known these are the things I needed to do. I've known this is the spaces I needed to create. And it's through following my own guidance that lives within me, that tells me what to do next, the next baby step, the next leap, the next everything. And so, yeah, the last months, I've noticed, like I said, that it feels like everything's moving faster. It feels like, or I hear people saying it more and more, like, man, it's wild how everything is just going so fast and time is just moving by so fast. And I don't feel that it's moving fast. I feel that more and more, the more aware I am of my choices, the more aware I am of what I'm capable of creating, the more I show up and the more I create, and the more doors open to continue to create, and that's what's fascinating for me. That's what feels like, this is pretty cool. Like, I'm part of this whole movement. I'm part of this whole creation. I'm part of this whole experience. I'm not just in it passively. Like, I actually get to use my voice, use my creativity. And of course, with that comes a big responsibility. It does. And when we're aware of that and we're mindful of it, we can definitely make better choices. And it starts, of course, it always does. It starts within. Like, what are the thoughts that are going through our minds? What are the words that we're sharing with people? What are we paying attention to? What are we focusing on? And I'm really, really grateful that I've come this far to where I can acknowledge that and I can see that, and how fun it is. How fun it is to dance with life to its own beat and sing along with it and still feel the things, still feel sad and still feel frustrated and still feel angry. And being aware that those are feelings that come and go. And the place where I want to be at most is fun and creativity. And of course, it's not going to be 100% fun and creativity. However, by allowing those other little feelings to move through, it makes room for more fun and creativity once they move, once they pass. And it's important to have people around that can understand that. And I'm really grateful right now that I have a handful of friends that truly get it, that will show up on a call with me, that will answer my messages, that will show up to my house and really support that. And not only support it because they want to be supportive, but they actually are that way. That is how they speak. That is how they show up in their life. That is how they are. That is how they're choosing to live their life. And it gives me more than anything hope. And hope is a word that I didn't like. I hated that word for a long time. I didn't like that word. I avoided it because for a while I was angry. I used to think, I don't like hope because it's fake. It's almost like I live hoping that something will happen, but it doesn't really happen. And I used to be angry about that. I used to say, well, I don't want to hope. I want to know because I just need to know everything. And then I realized, well, why? Why can't I just be happy with what I have right now? Why can't I just celebrate what I have right now? And hope is just something that is like a little window that lives inside of people as a possibility of more. So yeah, it's definitely been one of those months. And also, if we pay attention, like recently whenever, because I've been spending a lot of time on my own, by myself with my doggies. So when I'm on my own, I get to expand. I get to be fully who I am. I get to really express myself. I get to really show up. I get to really dance or really sing or really sleep until I want to, or wake up when I want to. I get to be. And the more I do that with myself, of course, the more I fall in love with myself, because it's like I feel like I'm in a more steady way, because all I'm dealing with is my emotions, my feelings, my experiences. And no matter what the experience is, I always go back to fun and creativity. That's just, that's just the way I choose to see life. And yeah, it gives me hope. I now like to say the word. It's hope to me is a little window that reminds me that there's a possibility for more. There's a possibility for a world where we stay optimistic and we stay positive and we're responsible and we're more aware of what we're creating and we're more aware of what we're saying, and we have enough room and enough space to be ourselves. for me to be who I am. And as I said, the last 3 days, really, I woke up feeling good. I went for a walk with my dogs, and then this little sadness feeling would move through. And within minutes or an hour, one of my friends would send me something. And it would be a reminder of either what we see around is a reflection of ourselves. Like we can't expect to look for happiness outside. It has to be inside, because whatever we have inside, we put it out there and then it reflects back to us like a mirror. And I got that reminder like 2 days ago, and I was thinking, oh my God, that's amazing. Yeah, that is so true. That's what I say all the time. And it's really good to have, again, the people that see the world in a similar way, because whenever I'm feeling down or I'm feeling tired, they'll just know, like somehow something will come in and will tell them, hey, send this to Beth, and then I'll get it. And I'm like, oh, I just needed to read that, or I needed to see that, or I needed to hear that, or a song will pop up. And it's just amazing, like how connected we are in this world, and the importance of having, I wouldn't say the right people, because what is right and what is wrong? But having the people with a similar mindset, with a similar vibration, with a similar frequency, with a similar energy, it just makes it so much easier. And this morning, one of my friends sent me a video that was a reminder of, just telling people, like, screw it. Who cares what people think? Who cares what people say? Reminded me of the story, and I'm sure many of us have heard it, but there's the story of, I know it's in many languages because I've seen it on Facebook in different languages, and people claim it that it comes from their country. And I heard it when I was in Mexico. And it was from a little donkey and an older man and a little boy or a little kid. And they're walking past a village, and the man and the boy are on the donkey. And as they're passing, people start criticizing them, like, oh, wow, how cruel they are. Both of them are so heavy. Why are they on that donkey? Like, what's wrong with them? So then they reflected on it, and that, okay, maybe they're right. So then the older man, or the old man, got off the donkey and left the little boy in it. And as they pass another village, another group of people are talking about them. Oh, how stupid and how disrespectful. Why is the little boy on the donkey? He should be walking. The older man should be on the donkey. He's the one that should be, resting. So then the older guy looks and scratches his head, and he's like, all right, well, maybe I'll get on the donkey and the little boy can walk. So they switch around. They pass another group of people, and then the people are like, oh, how horrible. Why is that old man letting that poor little kid walk? So eventually the older man is like, okay, we just get off the donkey and we just walk, all three of us together. And they pass another group of people, and the people are like, oh, look at those idiots. They have a donkey and neither one of them wants to get on it. And the whole moral of the story is, no matter what you do, no matter what we do, people are always going to have an opinion. People are always going to have something to say. And the whole point is, who cares what they say? I always tell people, as long as you're not hurting yourself and others, just live life. Just make it the most and the best that you can. And I got that reminder today, and I needed to hear that today. I needed to hear that so that I can let go of certain beliefs, of what are people going to say? What if they think this and that? Well, people are always going to think this and that. That's their right. We all have a right, and we all have the freedom to think this and that, whatever it is that we want to think. But that's their choice, and that's up to them. What matters is, what do I want to do? How do I want to live my life? And this is a reminder of, I wrote a book about design a life that you love, where I share a process and I share the steps on how to do that. And I did it based on an experience. When I was in my mid-20s, I got divorced, and I decided at that moment, because I had to get divorced, that was a big, big step. It was a big thing. And I was afraid. I was afraid of what people were going to say, about what people were going to think of me, that I was a failure, that I was an idiot for getting married so young, that I was going to be that, see, I told you so. And I was so hesitant about it. And there was more to it, and it's written in the book. But what I'm getting at is, at that moment, I decided I needed to do what was best for me. Not what people thought was best for me, not how people would have done it if they was them. It was about me and only me. So I had to listen to myself, my soul, my spirit, my body. What did I need? What did I need to do to feel safe? What did I need to do to keep living life, to really enjoy life? And I took some steps and I made some decisions and I started designing this beautiful life that I have now. And I kept repeating that same process over and over and over, which is what led me to write that book, was a reminder of there's certain specific things that we need in place to be able to free ourselves to go out and design a life that we love. And to understand those things, it's really important to be aware of what are we feeling? When are we feeling those things? What do we really need? What does our body need? What does our mind need? What do we want around? And it takes me back to, as we're circling back to the beginning of this conversation, was surrounding myself with, we hear it all the time, like-minded people. But like really, not the ones that we think we should be around, or the ones where we sacrifice, or we have to change the way we do things, change the way we say things because, what are they going to say? What are they going to think? No, like, I understand not everyone can be happy all the time or can be fun and creative all the time like I want to be. I get that. But there are people out there that do want to be like that. I know it. I see it. I have them around right now. They genuinely want to just be chilled out and look at the bright side of things. Look at life from a perspective of it is beautiful. Even if we had a tough day, even if we have hiccups along, we wake up with gratitude. We wake up with happiness. We wake up like, man, what a beautiful day. Even if we wake up like, man, I wish I could sleep longer, but damn, it's a beautiful day. And then we keep going. And that's amazing. And it starts with, how am I feeling? How do I want to feel? Where am I feeling from? And I'm choosing to feel from my heart. And my heart, for the most part, wants to feel, and it feels love and fun and happiness. And that's what I'm choosing to go. So, yeah, that's what it is today. This last month, this last weeks, that's what I'm reminded of the most. The importance of listening to myself, listening to the feelings, acknowledging them, letting them move, and then going back to what I want, what I really want. Fun, creativity, and love. So with that, I'm wishing you a beautiful rest of your day and filled with fun, creativity, and love, if that is what you like. If you like other things, well, I wish you whatever it is that you want your life and your day to be part of or be made of. But whatever it is, listen to that inner voice, listen to that intuition that's guiding us to feel, to move, to be. I hope you have an amazing, amazing rest of your day. And yeah, until next time for another episode of Everything and Nothing. Bye.